Hello, everybody. It is 11 o'clock here in St. Louis, and John Lee is going to be a few minutes late, and Lloyd is not sure if he's going to make it. So you're stuck with me for at least till John gets here. So I want to remind everybody that we have Kevin Shortell on Tuesday the 19th. Please sign up. Hopefully you can make it in person, but if you can't, you should at least sign up for the Zoom. If you're not familiar with notes, it's a very interesting part of real estate investing. And it's something that you might be interested in, but even if you're not interested, it would be good to know. So I urge and encourage you all to, like I said, either come to the live meeting on the 19th or sign up for the Zoom. Kevin is very good in what he teaches. And notes are pretty neat, especially if you're going to sell your rental properties and want to basically for sale by owner and carry the note. That's basically good income without having the landlord duties. It's just like getting a monthly check, but you don't get phone calls if the air conditioner is broken. You're the bank. So I urge you to at least get familiar with it. So does anybody have any wants or needs or has any property to sell or anything like that right now? Ooh, it's going to be a very quick meeting today.
I got something.
Sure, Eric, go ahead.
Yeah, I got a person, actually, a friend. I'm going for a friend. He's looking for a, I was on here about a month ago. Person name is Dave. And what he's looking for either a lot or maybe a farm field or something of that nature. What he's looking for to hold 2 to 4 cars. Something to hold 2 or 4 cars. So, hold on for a minute, my Cooper clock is going off. Okay. Yes. Sorry about that. It goes off.
No problem.
But I got a person, like I said, what he's looking for somewhere to store. He got 2 to 4 cars. And he's looking to store. Maybe he's looking to buy, not to rent it. Either buy like a garage, put it in, or a lot, or maybe a farm field. Okay.
So he's looking for just the land. It doesn't need to be a building with a garage or a warehouse.
No, it doesn't need to be that. No.
Okay.
I mean, if it's there, he would take it.
Yeah.
The areas you're basically looking for is like the Clayton area, either Richmond Heights or Maplewood. I mean, he said he might expand out, a little farther than that, but those areas in preference. And his number is 314-302-6281. Again, his number is 314-302-6281, and his name is Dave.
Okay. So your friend Dave is looking for some land to store 3 to 4 cars in Clayton, Richmond Heights, Maplewood area. 314-302-6281.
Yes.
And my thought is, in the Clayton, Richmond Heights, Maplewood area, he's not going to find anything because if there's vacant land, there's a house on it.
Yeah,
something.
That's what I'm thinking. That's why I said maybe he's looking to expand as well outwards of that. So if you have something, he's willing to expand, outwards.
Okay. Does anybody online here have anything for Eric to pass on to Dave, or if you want to call Dave directly? Eric, could you put that in the chat? Put his name and number in the chat, and just a kind of a short sentence of what he's looking for.
Okay.
So if anybody has anything, please get a hold of Dave at 314-302-6281. But like I said, in that area, that's prime real estate area. There's not going to be much open land in that area.
Okay, but like I said, he's willing to, expand.
Yeah.
So, I understand that. I try to tell him that as well, but who I'm to say, but but I told him I'll pass it on.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's there might be somebody that has a garage or something he might be willing to rent or something or sell or whatever. So yeah, it's not a problem to try. Mm-hmm. Anybody else have any needs or wants or have?
Jim, this is James. Can you hear me?
Yes, James.
Okay. I have a question. Taking tenants of using the Section 8, because I don't have any experience and I don't know what to look for, and if there's any potential issues. So this potential tenant of mine, she makes a good income. She can actually pay for it by herself, even without the Section 8. But she got approved. She got a voucher, so she's planning to use it. So I just don't know what I need to be careful about. And do I need to look for more safety deposit or anything else I need to know about?
Well, I'll give you my 2 cents, and then we'll let somebody that knows more than I do chime in. Dave Soto might have something since he's property manager. But from my experience with Section 8, you do your own due diligence, just like you would any other tenant. And I believe Section 8 will also have a separate inspection, at least they used to, in addition to the municipal occupancy inspection. But the big thing is do your own due diligence, just like any other tenant. Just because they're Section 8, don't automatically accept them. But I have a Section 8 tenant and they pay. I've had Section 8 tenants that paid but left the place a mess. So you need to check on the property just like any other tenant every so often. Mr. Soto, do you have anything you want to contribute?
I do. So you cannot charge them anything different than you would a regular tenant. So you can't change the rent. You can't change the deposit just because they're Section 8. They've got to be treated like any other tenant. But Jim's right. Do your background checks as you would somebody else. And the thing that I kind of shy away from Section 8 for is not because of the tenant or the quality of the tenant, but because of you dealing with a government agency that they're going to want to do their inspections, and they could hold up your lease. They could, they'll find something in their inspection that's perfectly fine for anybody else, but you have to do it for them. Also, it's going to be dependent on their availability. So they could be, 2 weeks out before they get there to do the inspection. So those are kind of the things that you just have to be aware of. And also they have their own lease that they have to abide by. So you can use your lease, but they also have their lease, and you've got to abide by the terms of their lease. So, and that's really it. And again, has nothing to do with the tenant. Tenant can be very, very qualified. They make sure they're qualified, like you would anybody else. But the issues that I run into are with, dealing with the government agency.
Got it. Thank you. Let's say if something didn't go well, and then is it still possible to evict them?
If they're violating the terms of the lease, they can still be evicted.
Yeah, I think the first thing you maybe want to do is they have probably a caseworker. Go to their caseworker, talk to their caseworker. And as Dave said, though, that you can evict them just like any other tenant as long as you have a cause. And you would think that they'd have incentive to be a good tenant, because my understanding is if they get evicted, they lose their Section 8 voucher.
Right.
From my talking to some people at the Section 8 office, they said, yeah, you would think that, but that doesn't always work. So talk to their caseworker first, but yes, you can evict them with cause. if you have cause.
Thank you guys very much.
I think one of the things you also have to be aware of is that there have been times where, for whatever reason, you won't get paid from Section 8 and you cannot go after the tenant. So if it's the government that's holding up payment for whatever reason, and they may go do an inspection, not like something, so they're not going to pay the rent until you fix it, you can't go after the tenant for that. And I had one more point, but I forgot it. So, oh, and as far as amount of rent, you have to make sure that the voucher meets what your rent is going to be. You can't charge a different rent than you would a normal tenant. It has to be market rent, just like everybody else. And if a tenant comes back and says that, well, Section 8 only pays this much, I'll pay the additional. It's got to be understood by Section 8. The agency, they have to agree to that. They can't do under the table paying you more. You're in violation, they're in violation, you can be in trouble. So just be careful with that.
Oh, that's a great point, because this tenant did say if Section 8 doesn't cover all, and she's willing to pay the rest, but looks like she has to get approved for that. Okay.
Dave, I don't know if you've experienced the same thing, but we have one Section 8 tenant where we have market rent, but Section 8 only pays a portion of it, and it's upfront known that they're only going to pay like 75%. So sometimes you know ahead of time that the deal is that Section 8 is not going to pay the entire thing, and it may be based on tenant income, I think.
Yeah, and it's got to be upfront. Everybody has to be aware of it. You can't do something under the table.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. So it sounds like it's quite possible in your circumstance, since your tenant has income and enough income to pay the rent, that there's a good chance that the arrangement with Section 8 will be that the tenant has to pay a portion of it.
Okay, got it.
Okay, thanks, Dave and Melody. Anybody else have any Section 8 comments for James? Any helpful advice or anything? Okay. Any other haves and wants or any needs or anything? John Lee has joined us, and welcome, John. I've stressed everybody to sign up for Tuesday, either in person or via Zoom. Some new people have come on since I did that at 11. So we'll do it again. One of us will do it again, I think, before we sign off. But Eric's got something in the chat. Eric, good. We talked about that, and James talked about Section 8. So everything else is open game still.
Thank you, Jim.
Hello.
I appreciate you starting this today.
No problem.
I've got a want. If anybody has a recommendation for a roofer and that works in the city, 63107, greatly appreciated.
I don't, but maybe somebody else does. I mean, Melody, if I remember right, you're out of town, right?
I'm out of town, but we have somebody that we're working with in town that does a lot of
Okay.
renovation work themselves. It's just they're not going to work on this roof because it's like a 3-story building with
Okay. Well, I mean, they're
very steep.
I don't have a roofer that I use. They haven't needed roofing in a long time. But in the St. Louis area, there's some well-known roofers that maybe not the cheapest, but I think John Beal does good quality work.
Okay.
So he's a well-known roofer in St. Louis, but he's probably not the cheapest. But I believe, talking to other people that use them, he does do good quality. Anybody else have any roofing suggestions for Melody? Okay. Well, John, now that you're here, I'm just going to turn this over to you.
Jim, you don't need me. You're doing a great job. No, I appreciate you getting started. My coaching call went a little bit over this morning that I was on, so usually it's done in time. So looks like I didn't really catch much, but Section 8, that's always good. Thanks for giving us some tips on that, David. Definitely go to experts when you want to know that stuff. And a roofer, I don't know, Melody. Yeah, you're here at the right place. Just ask for some advice. Who's used a roofer lately? I probably am going to need one soon down in the St. Francis County for a place I got, but I can let you know down there. But I believe you said St. Louis City, so I'm sure there's lots of good ones around.
David Randolph, you have a suggestion from a roofer? You do a lot of rehabs.
Yeah, I was just looking on my CRM system. So Melody, nice to meet you. Hi, write this down. This guy named Jesus, 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 Gonzalez, Gonzales, and his phone number is 618-670-7328. Now he does big commercial buildings. So depending on the time of year and his workload, he just does residential. And he'd love to do a 3-story home. I mean, that's like, he'd love that kind of thing. But depending on his commercial workload, he may not be able to do that. My little kind of trick during the off season, I have him do things for me during the off season because he's I shouldn't say dirt cheap. He's reasonably priced in his off season. So I wait till that time frame.
Yeah. And that's a win-win, because if it's his off season and he doesn't have a lot going on, then
Right.
he can pick up projects. Yeah, we like to do that too. We generally like to plan. We know ahead when things are getting kind of old and it's going to get around to it. And then we find people when they've got the time.
Yeah, and like I always tell people, I got a lending program and I gave you all my contractors in the lending program. But one of the things I say in that, and even I'll say to you now, if I give you a recommendation on somebody, when you call them, you need to tell them my name, okay? I don't get a kickback. I don't get anything like that. But what happens is it sets the tone for training them. You don't want them to think that you're a retail customer from Chesterfield, a fat cat, from Chesterfield. You got to let them know, that you're a rehabber. And that you're cheap, okay? And then you can't pay retail and sell retail, so you need wholesale pricing. So if you start out by saying, hey, I know David Randolph, you gave me your number, we rehab houses or something, then at least you might get a phone call back, kind of thing with it. So if you let them know that you know somebody, you usually get a better response from some of these contractors.
Okay, perfect. And you said, if I can repeat the number back to make sure I typed it correctly, 618-670-7328.
Perfect. Yep.
Great. Thank you so much, David.
Sure.
Does anybody have anything they want to sell today? We see a lot of buyers out there, but is there anybody that wants to sell anything?
Well, I had just a quick update, not to sell, but I think last week or maybe the week before, I was asking questions about the SAFER program. I guess it was first week because that's when Kathy was on. I just got my approval this morning for the back rent and forward rent of 3 months. So if there's any landlords out there, the state is still paying. And I will put this caveat out there. My tenant actually passed away in January. So I still had to keep doing what I needed to do and make up several updates to the application, but they are still paying.
That's great, Amber. Thank you. And do you happen to know where people could get a hold of them at? Do you have any kind of contact info that you could share?
Yeah, I can drop it in the chat, the SAFER program.
Thank you. That's great. Right. Anybody else have anything they would like to share today? Any haves, wants? Anybody got anything they want to buy or sell? No, everybody's got everything they need. Nobody wants anything. Nobody has anything to offer. This is a good time to do it.
Yeah, I guess I got one thing, John.
Mhm. Sure.
There's I do short sales, and so a lot of people, and I say this if you come to the monthly meeting, and the meet and greet and stuff, but I'll pay anybody on this call here $2,000 for their dead, lead, short sale lead. So, if you're a wholesaler and you try to, negotiate to buy a house and you get a great price from the homeowner and find out they owe too much, and it can't be paid off, and you get all mad and you walk away because you can't buy the house. I do short sales and I will pay you. And I paid many investors in our group $2,000 for that lead. You give me their name, contact, call them up. We do a handover and say, hey, Dave does short sales. I can't do anything for you, but he can get you out of your situation. I'll pay you $2,000 at closing when I buy that house for that dead, short sale lead with it. So I'll put that out there, and you can contact me. My phone number is 636-685-2990. So, text me or call me, and I'll pay you $2,000 for that dead short sale lead.
All right. Well, that's a good one right there. So if anybody wants $2,000 and they run into something they can't handle, which is probably a lot more now, David, isn't it? In the foreclosure starting to come in a little bit, the short sales?
Oh my gosh, it's crazy. Yeah, it's Carl Crane made lots of money on the short sales, and then he quit marketing. It's like, Carl, never stop your marketing. And so for 4 months he didn't do any marketing, and then he went and he mailed out 15 letters and got 3 short sales out of 15 letters. And that's because the banks are hounding the homeowners now. Forbearance is over with, and now the banks are required per the CFPB to call them twice a month and tell them, hey, the gig is up, man, forbearance is over, you got to pay this back. And they're panicking. And so, yeah, there's a huge increase in potential foreclosures. I say potential because a short sale is you step in and you stop that, you help the family out, you get them more time in the house, and you get the bank to pay them some money to be able to move. And we've had in the past 2 months, a huge increase, and the banks are pretty much, dumping the houses with it. I can go into pricing scenarios, but you probably wouldn't even believe me. But yeah, this is the time to be reaching out to homeowners, guys, that are, in foreclosure.
One thing I want to add to what David's saying, there is a lot of foreclosures probably going to be happening, and Kevin will probably talk about it on Tuesday. But if they've already gone into foreclosure and they haven't done a short sale or something, buying non-performing notes is another way of getting a good deal on homes. Of course, you got to do your own due diligence to make sure the home is in an area you want. But with non-performing notes, basically the bank doesn't want to foreclose because they just cost a lot of money. The attorney fees, the upkeep of the house, insurance, mow the yard, whatever. So a lot of banks are bundling their loans and selling them to hedge funds like BlackRock. And then BlackRock will go ahead and pick out the ones they want and then sell it to somebody else. And eventually it filters down to people like us, where you can get non-performing notes, which basically you're the note holder, you own the mortgage. And then you can either make it into a reperforming note with the homeowner if they want to. You could do a cash for keys, or you could do a foreclosure. It's just another option. So like I said earlier, even if you're not thinking that you want to do notes, you should go Tuesday, either in person or virtually, just to learn a little bit about it, just to learn about notes, performing and non-performing notes, and just see what else is out there. Is part of.
You have to go in person, Jim. In person, we have food.
Well, I know I'm going to be there in person, and I recommend in person, but not everybody can do it. And of course, David will be there in person, so you can talk to David in person, and he will be happy to answer any of your short sale questions too. So it's kind of like a double benefit evening, right, David?
Yeah, I'll be in line when it starts. I'll try to sneak back in after everybody else is done if you don't catch me.
Well, everybody knows you, so it might be kind of hard for you not to get caught, but we'll see how much food's left over for seconds.
So David, is the short sale process, is that historically it's been a long process. I never did know how long it's going to take to get the banks to approve and all the different steps I had to go through. Has that changed? So my impression is that they're accepting less than they were before, but does the whole process changed?
Yeah. Oh, from the old wild cowboy days in 2009 and 2010, it's changed a lot there. It's very well regulated now. It still takes, 3 months, maybe 6 months. And, it's just a question of building up your backlog. Once you have one coming off every month, then it's not a big deal. You started it previously. The longer it takes, the lower the price you get. So, I'm not usually worried about it, with it, because I'm just trying to get that price down even lower and lower. But it's got a much more regulated than 2009 and 10. We used to have to find a single mom to be the buyer because the bank didn't want to sell to an LLC. That's all different now. They love selling to LLCs because they've realized they got smart and figured out that we fix houses up, put them on the market at really high prices and sell them, and then they can loan money out to that new buyer. So they easily accept, LLCs now, and there's a lot of steps to it, but they really are. I call it simple. It's just a process, and this is kind of a great time to do it because you got the rehabbing market so hot that you can buy these things low. And see, in the past, it was a declining market, right? When short sales were going on in 2009 and 10. Here, it's a divergence. I've never seen this in 10 years, but, rehabs are going up and short sale prices are coming down. We just got approval to buy a house for $25,000 worth $220,000. And yes, it does need about, $80,000 in work. Carl Crane just sold his Bear Mountain house in St. Charles County, a split level, where no split level in St. Charles County has ever sold over 250. He listed this for 245,000, and it didn't sell for 250. It didn't sell for 260. He just sold it for 302. Can you guys believe that? My St. Charles County people, a split level home in St. Charles County sold $50,000 over list price. Okay, with it, and so this is a great time to be rehabbing houses right now because you can sell them. Carl did a short sale on that, and he only paid $82,000 for that house. You can go look it up, 785 Bear Mountain Drive in St. Peters, $82,500 for that house in a short sale. Because the other divergence is the banks are dumping the houses because they've been under a moratorium and couldn't foreclose for almost 2 years now. They need them off their books, and they'll take they'll take almost anything you offer them with it and stuff. So yeah, it is a great time right now, Dave.
Thank you, David. That's great. Great updated information on St. Charles County. I'm always amazed at what all the new stuff that goes on that you run into here. So
maybe we should do another monthly meeting on short sales. You guys did one in 2019 with it, and give a market update or something, because it is a little bit different after the, forbearance. And there's the thing called the CFPB, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, that now is in charge of all this. And they set out these rules, and they've got the tiered levels that the banks are to foreclose. They're directed to foreclose on these people in tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 5, and stuff. And so that's how you can target, those people through the CFPB, tiered levels.
Yeah, thanks. We do need to do that. We were thinking about that the other day, and you and I've talked about that before. That'd be a good one for later, maybe in a few months. And right now, actually, be sure just to show up Tuesday, because you'll be getting a lot of insight. You'll be networking with some fellow investors just like yourselves. But Tuesday, Kevin Chartel will be here. And I know Jim mentioned that, and I wasn't here at the beginning, but for the first 50 people, we do have a meal that you will get. Okay. And then for the first 20, you will get a copy of Kevin's book, Real Estate Without Renters, although he does kind of combine that with, makes the best of real estate. That's one thing that I've really liked about him. And he's a great presenter from what I've seen, and a great teacher. He really knows his material. As you probably know, I'm a big proponent of notes. I like to create them, and I've done that for many years now. In fact, I've got a couple this week that were just starting to pay stuff off and coming to the end of their 11-year term. So I've creatively come up with some other things they can continue to buy from me. So that's just one of the strategies I use. Your good customers, take care of them. They're not really customers. They're more like clients. Customer is usually a one-time thing. Like maybe if you're a flipper or a wholesaler, you'll get customers. But when you have stuff you buy and hold and do all that, that's clients. That's people you get for the long term. And take care of your clients, and they will take care of you. That's one of the things I've learned over the years. So anyway, be sure to show up Tuesday. So
John, do we want people to register in advance or just show up?
Yes and yes. Register in advance and then show up early, because if you're not early, there's a good chance you'll miss out on the food and or the book. So yes, be there on time early though. Yes, but go ahead and RSVP. Yeah, go to the website, STLREIA.com, STLREIA.com, and go ahead and RSVP. But just more importantly, show up though too, or as importantly as I should say.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then Kevin is going to have a follow-up on Saturday. So I believe that's the 23rd. We're going to have it. It's still going to be at the Moolah Shrine Center. It's going to be in a different room. You'll find out more information on Tuesday. And it's okay to show up virtually, like we kind of talked about, but that's not really where you're going to get the most out of it. You always get more out of the in-person, on-location events than you do, virtually. And there's nothing wrong with doing it that way. You'll learn some stuff, but there's so many distractions that we have, going on at home or wherever in the car, whenever we're watching the stuff that we don't get when we're in person. So the networking is huge. That can make all the difference in your real estate business, because it's really not necessarily who you know, but it's really who knows you, and what you have to offer and what you're looking for. So then that's what you get out of in-person on location networking.
Howdy, I wanted to cover two things, I guess. I put in another roofer's name in the chat box that Melody was looking for. He did 3 roofs for me pretty quick about 2 years ago. And unfortunately, I couldn't climb a ladder, so I haven't been able to check. But as far as I know, all those places have been dry since then. So I guess we're okay. Yeah, unfortunately, he didn't put on some edging I wanted him to put on, but it's still dry. Second and thirdly, I guess I might be going offline here a bit. If anybody's over 65 and owns or rents, they may be able to get a rebate from the state for some of the money, but you have to be low income, I think, make less than 30 AGI or something like that, 30K. If you know somebody that fits into that, homeowners can get as much as 1,100 back, and renters can get as much as 750 back. And that's for the state, which means obviously you need to file a state income tax return and ask for it, but you have to file that by Monday. And also an IRA question, which I know people aren't lawyers, people aren't accountants. If you have money in an IRA and transfer it to a Roth IRA, does that count as part of your donation amount, which if you're over 50, you're allowed to put as much as $7,000 into an IRA or a Roth? I would assume it's just a transfer, but I was just curious about that. And I've had, at least my wife has been telling me the past couple of days, we've been evaluating IRAs, and she was astounded because she's using the H&R Block tax form or something online, the digital one. And I said, you know, why don't you put in 1,500 for my daughter and see how much she gets back? And it changed her taxable stuff, where she was going to send 12 bucks out to getting like $340 back. So a difference of like 400 immediately. And that's like, you know, over a 30% return on your income immediately. Of course, depending on how quick it takes, how long it takes the government to send you your money back. And she did the same thing with hers, checking on it because she didn't think it would make a difference. And I think she upped hers to a 7,000 limit because we're both over 60 or both over 50. And she got more money back than she expected. So she's out now starting an IRA at Electro Savings, which has a, you know, that's a minimal interest rate. Dave could probably tell you where to get more money than that, of 1.24, but that's more than twice. Other places are offering 0.5% or 0.4% for what that's worth. So I guess, again, getting back to the question was whether a transfer constitutes a donation, well, not a donation, but a deposit as far as transferring from an IRA to a Roth, so that it would decrease your total amount possibly from 7,000 to something less than that.
Hey, Bruce, as someone with 3 million in my retirement accounts that I love and love this stuff, equity trust and, you know, solo 401ks, you're taking a traditional IRA and putting it into Roth, you can do $100,000, $200,000. You're not limited to 7,000. And it doesn't play any part with the $7,000 number. The 7,000 is a contribution, but a conversion from traditional to Roth is a conversion that you can do. I've done that many times. I want to get everything traditional in there. And it's a good thing to do if you are 72 and a half and you have minimum distributions coming out. You know, you're forced to take the money out. So you're, you know, in my opinion, better off just converting it to Roth. So no, if you're doing traditional, then do as much as you want. But remember, you're paying taxes on that as if it was an income. So if you do $15,000, it's going to show you with an AGI $15,000 higher on your tax return. So you do pay taxes with it. If you do a Roth contribution, then you're taking $7,000 out of your bank account where you'd already paid taxes. So there won't be, you know, any taxes on that because you already paid it originally. So just know one will have a big tax bill and one will have no tax bill because you've kind of already paid the taxes on the 7,000. And certainly contact me afterwards if what I said didn't make any sense.
Yeah, because you're talking like it's a conversion and therefore not a deposit. So therefore you could make as much as you want taking from a traditional IRA to a Roth IRA, and that doesn't count as the 7,000 minimum, like you said. And
Right.
if you're smart, you even do the 401 solo 401k, and you've been involved in that for a while, where you can move money all around. And that lady talked to us last fall, but I'm not sure I understood what she was saying either. So
yeah, it's funny. You're exactly right. I want to get off on teaching a IRA class or a solo 401k class, but you know, it's like the first thing I do with some of my students is I say, stop, do not convert from traditional IRA into Roth. Do not do it. Do not convert from traditional IRA to Roth. And here's why. You want to take the traditional IRA and you want to move it into a solo 401k as traditional. A solo 401k can only accept traditional money, not Roth money. So you move it for, you just do a simple move from the traditional IRA into the 401k IRA. Then you convert it after it's in the 401k. Now you have a Roth 401k. And that's very powerful to do. Now you have to know what a solo 401k is and how to set that up. And that's that would be another topic, but I'd be glad to talk to anybody on here about it offline because I love that stuff. That's why I've got so much money in my IRAs. I love doing that.
So is it better, just throw that out since you've mentioned both of them, whether to have your money in a self-directed Roth IRA like Equity Trust, or to have it into a Roth 401k where you manage it and move stuff around, even to the benefits of your company?
Yeah, absolutely. Roth 401k. Because in a 401k, the penalty, if you screw something up, if they catch you changing a light bulb in your house, then the penalty is you lose your entire IRA. In a 401k Roth, the penalty is 15% of the cost of changing a light bulb. So 15% of $30 is $4.50. That's your entire penalty if you screw up in a 401k. So you want to not do it in a traditional IRA, because if you change a light bulb in the house on a traditional IRA, the entire IRA gets distributed, all of it, $1 million, whatever you have in it, just for that little change. So I absolutely advocate 401ks over traditional IRAs.
And Jim had mentioned that book to me, and actually I've got it, but I still haven't figured out how to start 401k. So I guess I need to read some more and even see if there's a information on just need, because it's like I'm the analytical person, don't do anything till you've analyzed 150%, and it's too late by then. So
yeah, Bruce, I can help you do that if you want to contact me offline. I do it with some of my coaching students like all the time with it.
Okay, thanks. That'd be great.
Yeah, Bruce, that's a pretty good book from what I understand on the solo 401k, if that's what you're talking about. And
Right.
you might want to read that before you go to talk to Dave. So maybe everything will make more sense then. I don't know.
Right. Unfortunately, Tuesday is the day after the tax thing, so you can't talk to people before the tax day, mostly. Yeah.
And I'm going to make one more pitch for Tuesday. You can own notes just like you can own rental property in your IRA, either traditional or Roth. So you can own notes. So if you have some money that's just sitting there, that may be a possibility to make some extra money for your IRA if you don't have enough to either do buy a rental property, or you're not sure what you want to do with it. You can own notes in the IRA just like rental property. So just wanted to throw that out there.
I've got something. This has been going on for over 6 months, and I may have even asked on a previous meeting, but I still cannot find an accountant, a tax accountant, not a bookkeeper, not a QuickBooks thing, but the year-end tax accountant for my businesses. My guy here in St. Louis quit about 6 months ago and didn't even sell his clients to anybody, didn't sell the company, didn't even give us away. He just walked off the deep end and went away from everything. And I've been trying to find an accountant, and I've interviewed a few, but then they're like, well, S corporation, and I've got a master LLC, and I got a lot of complicated things, and they're like, oh no, we don't do that, kind of thing. So I need a pretty sophisticated accountant. If anybody on here knows one, kind of contact me. Call me at 636-685-2990, or text me or something if anybody's got a pretty real estate sophisticated attorney.
David, we had Linda DeMarler on here last, I believe it was October. Did you happen to get her contact information? She does stuff nationwide and worldwide. She's a pretty big player. I know you've been on Jennifer Hammond's show on Clubhouse a few times, and probably on Sirius Radio, but she's one of her big clients. Have you talked to Linda? I
sent her a message about 3 months ago, but didn't hear anything back. But you're right. I'll try to follow up with her again.
Okay, if you need any insight, let me see if I can have a different number, but I think I probably have the same contact number she gave us. But she's a good one to know, because even if she can't help you, she probably knows somebody that can specialize in this area. I'm guessing, because she's pretty knowledgeable.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good idea. I'll check back with her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and David, you probably know John Heyer, or know of John Heyer also, don't you?
Yeah. He quit doing the taxes side.
Oh, he
Okay.
did? Okay.
Yeah. He said, I'm just going to stick to IRA, tax stuff for IRAs, and got rid of the regular business practice.
Okay.
With it. It was, his problem was he got so big with it, he had to hire people, and then he found out it was like herding cats, and he wasn't really good at, employees. And so he just said, forget it, and walked away from it.
I guess after he moved to Puerto Rico, he just wants to take life easy.
John,
Hey.
who's the person you mentioned earlier, Linda, what?
Linda DeMarler. You can go back if you, I can send you a link to the replay, and I can also dig out the information. Her and her son was on our, at our meeting. I believe it was October or November last year. I don't know. They all started running together since we've been trying to meet back in person. But she's actually, when she met with us, she was in Dubai on a totally different time zone. It was like tomorrow morning or something. I don't remember, but yeah, she's very knowledgeable, and I can get you her contact. But she did a meeting. We can get you a link to that. And she's very good, especially with people in business. She's worked with a lot of investors and a lot of real estate professionals.
Yeah, I found the email. Once you mentioned her name, I was able to find it.
Okay.
It's Tax Masters.
Tax Masters, that's correct.
Thank you.
You know more than I do at this point. I have to go back and look her up. I know her by first name, and I can talk to her, but I couldn't tell you the name of her company or anything. But that's great. Thank you, Melody.
I can hunt in the email. That's my memory.
Good job.
Hey, John, I just found it on the computer thing. So yeah, I don't know. I hope this is her public phone number. The phone number I got in my contact system here is 301-230-0200. Okay, and the email address is taxlady, TAXLADY, at tax-masters.com. I'll see if I can throw this in the chat box here.
Thank you. Yeah, the dash always throws me off when people do that with their websites, dashes and dots and stuff like that. But that's something that's very important. But they can at least get you in the right direction there. And if you ever want some free information, if you ever see her on Jennifer Hammond's Clubhouse Room or on Sirius Radio or anything like that, she's a good one, and she will talk to you about anything specific you want to talk about. And she's very happy to do so. This is somebody probably that loves taxes probably more than the government, if you could believe that.
Yeah, and she's like what? She's like 85 years old and has done everything, knows everything.
Yes, she's had like 5 marriages, and she's got about 100 kids out there, and they're all professionals, attorneys, and everything else. They're all top in their field, and she knows ways to make everything tax deductible. I've learned so much from her as far as what I do in my daily life too. So she's a good one to learn from.
And just by the way, too, John, if you don't remember, tomorrow morning, Jennifer Hammond has me on her Clubhouse show at 7 a.m. on short sale marketing. I don't know if you saw her. Jennifer.
Oh, great. No, I didn't know you were on tomorrow. I haven't talked to her since Monday, but she's a busy lady these days. So,
yeah,
but I'll be there in the morning.
Yeah, she's having me speak on short sale marketing, just marketing, not what short sales are. It's a short, maximum hour Clubhouse thing that Jennifer has, and John Lee's on there, and I'll be on there.
Great. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Clubhouse is an interesting venue. I don't know if, how many of y'all are on there. I listen to it a lot more than I ever thought I would. And it's really a good place to get a lot of information and connect with people, as you probably know, David, too. Yep. So.
Hey, John, just one more thing to throw out there because I don't think we talked about it. The St. Louis
Mhm.
city tax sale is this week coming up. I received an email about it sometime this week, but yeah, it's happening next weekend. Or I'm sorry, not next weekend, next week. I believe on Tuesday.
Oh, great. Do you have any information you could share with us on there as far as website or anything, Amber?
I can find some.
Okay, that'd be great. Yeah, I wasn't aware of that, but I don't follow the sales. As you may know, I just deal with the government agencies are the people around the sales. But that's a great thing. I tell you what, the auctions are one of the best places to learn information and network too. I don't know if they're going to have it live or just strictly virtual, but some of the auctions are great places to go see who's doing what.
Yeah, it's Dale Sweet, Amber. Dale Sweet came out and spoke about a year ago, and he's got an email list. He'll send you the Excel file with all the listings. Dale Sweet.
Thank you, Amber. There we are. Civil Courts Building, 10 North Tucker. So I guess it looks like they are doing this in person, correct? As far as you know?
Yeah, unfortunately, they won't do it. And I don't understand why, but I'm sure there's a reason, but they will not do these virtually. So even during COVID, I feel like they still continued them in that small room in the courthouse. They wouldn't even do it on the courthouse steps, to open up the space. But yeah, I think that they're still held in that room.
Well, that probably cuts down on competition.
Yeah, maybe if I go in coughing, half of the competition will leave.
Well, at least get you some notoriety, I'm sure, Amber. You might even get a better deal. I don't know. Well, that's great information today, and I thank you for starting it, Jim. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to buy, sell, they have, want, anything like that? No, if not, I guess we could call it a day. If you need anything, as always, you can always reach out to us. Be sure to show up Tuesday. I know Jim's mentioned that, and I do want to stress if you can all make it, and we have a big room too. It's not a small one, so if Amber's coughing, you can probably get your own table. No, I'm just kidding. It's going to be great. You get a meal for the first 50 and a book for the first 20 people. So, uh-oh. So.
Okay, well, thanks, John, and thanks for everybody for showing up today, and we'll see everybody on Tuesday.
Sure will. Thank you again, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great weekend.
All right.
Thanks.
All right. Take care, guys.